Okay guys, it's time for another unboxing. So again, I've been excited for this one all morning. I was a little bit worried for a second right there because I got an email that this was delivered. So I pretty much went outside and see usually Canada Post, because obviously here I'm living in Canada. They usually, just drop this in front of my door. However, I opened the door, nothing was there. I saw pretty much the Canada Post truck leaving. So then I was like, holy shit, did they just drop this to the wrong address, to the wrong apartment number? Which they usually never do. It happened to me usually once with like Amazon. Like my package got delivered to my neighbor, which was, quite, weird. You have to knock on the door and say, oh, you got the wrong package. That's what she said. So essentially I got worried for a second. However, they delivered it to my mailbox, which was cool. So yeah, let's open this one. Again, I've been excited for this one for a while. I just changed my setup here, guys, so hopefully you're gonna enjoy this a little bit more. Since this is a Neca figure, I said okay, let's do this unboxing in front of my Neca obviously display right there, so hopefully everything is in frame. Give me guys here a second so I can do this right there. Okay, so yeah, let's dig in. Again, I've been talking about this figure in my previous videos, but I think this is the best figure that Neca pretty much made. I used to have this in the past. I think I got this one 2 times and I ended up selling it. So yeah, let's see here. Hopefully everything is fine. Make sure to be very careful here with the scalpel because this thing is pretty sharp, so I don't want to mess myself up or the box underneath. We are very excited for this figure, man. I think this is a holy grail from Neca. Every time that they've put this figure up for pre-order, because obviously this was released quite a few times. This one, I think the first time was released was back in 2013 or 2014, and I believe since then they've been pretty much reissuing this figure a lot, and every time was pretty much going for like $300 or $400 on eBay every time they've released it. So again, crossing my fingers here that everything is fine, because you never know, especially when you're buying new figures. Sometimes there's issues in transit. Oh man, I can see the box. Yes. So hopefully everything is in frame here for you guys. Go, there's some paper, then boom, you can see inside, guys. Damn! So yeah, this was pretty much my holy grail, I mean, in terms of alien figures from Neca. Again, I have their core scales. But this one, damn, she's looking great. As you can see, guys, here's the Deluxe edition Alien Queen. So let me just focus the camera around and I'm gonna be back here in a second. And yeah, just again taking a look at this book, which I've showcased before. As you can see, this is a Stan Winston effect book, again the Holy Bible of the Stan Winston creation. And again, there's the Magnificent Queen. Obviously, I think the only thing that we're missing, again, I have this one in 1/6 scale, I have the Prime 1 version of this one, which I'm gonna do another video because I did some modifications to the base. This one is coming from Hot Toys as a diecast version. Man, we need a 1/6 scale T-Rex from Hot Toys. Imagine how cool that is. I know Prime 1 Studios are gonna do a 1/6 scale version of this one, which is about $3,000. But I think if Hot Toys can do like a vinyl line, they could potentially do, again, if they acquire the license to Jurassic Park, they could potentially do 1/6 scale T-Rex. I mean, that would be awesome. Obviously, you don't need articulation. The only place you can articulate is gonna be obviously the mouth, or you can do pretty much 2 swappable heads, closed mouth and obviously open mouth. That would be amazing. They could pretty much do like a seam on the neck. That would be awesome. So again, just a shout out right there to the amazing work of Stan Winston. And there's the Queen. God damn, the details on this one. Whew. Very nice. You can see those stubby arms. I'm not sure if on this re-release they've kind of changed, because again, mine, I had the issues with the first one. They pretty much snapped right there. So I'm not sure if this time around there's ball joints, because back in the day those were like hinges, so they can pretty much go up and down and rotate. But yeah, the detail, I also know that there's some different paint applications on this one versus the original. Actually, let me just check down below, because here they usually say like yes, it's pretty much says you have the 25 right there, which is pretty much, this is the ratio of last year. This is like a quick way to know that. You pretty much look at the barcode and you see like the last 2 digits. That's usually the year of release. Yeah, so see, the original one is in 2014. Man, time flies away very fast. There's some credits right there. But yeah, this thing, I don't think there's batteries inside, although it would be cool if Neca would actually give us like a diorama, you know, a base to go with this one, just like McFarlane did back in the day. Again, I used to own the McFarlane version way back, and that came with a great base. Again, this one is still a superior figure. It's a lot bigger, it's more detailed. The color is more accurate. As you can see, it has that grayish blue paint application with like those bronze highlights. But the McFarlane was pretty much all gray. Yeah, this one is looking fantastic. Oh yeah, and there's Her Majesty the Queen. Wow, this thing is awesome. For some reason I thought that the box is gonna be bigger, but then I remember that there's her tail is pretty much bent, so it's pretty much like that around. But yeah, she's a massive figure. I think she's about 15 inches tall, depending on how you're gonna pose her, and then she's about 30 inches long, which is insane. Again, this is pretty much in scale with your Aliens figures, which pretty much in scale with all of them figures in 1/10 scale. So it's massive. Again, there's some assembly required. Again, I'm not sure if I'm gonna open this one. If I do, I'm gonna, you know, let you guys know. Yeah, let's take a look here at the box. Again, one of my favorite features here, you can see there's a big display. There's a lot of clear plastic right there, so you can pretty much take a glance at the figure from different angles. Again, I like that, especially on the top. Fantastic box. Again, this is pretty much like the 6th time that they've re-released her. Obviously, the initial release was, I believe, in 2014, which I got her again. I opened her up, and I had an issue with those small arms in the front, those small T-Rex looking arms. One of them snapped, so I returned it back to the store, and then I believe 2 years later I got another one that I left in the box. And then obviously in the meantime they've also released like an Alien Resurrection version, which is pretty much completely brown, and that's very movie accurate, because again, when they shot Alien Resurrection in the late 90s, they went back to Bob Burns, which was you know, a huge, I guess, alien collector. He had a lot of the stuff from behind the movies, you know, a lot of the actual props. And then Studio ADI pretty much told Bob, you know, can we borrow the head? And then they pretty much painted it brown, which was essentially what Neca did with that version. So there's the brown version, which is quite rare. I don't think that they've actually re-released that one. And there's also like the Genocide Queen, which is a red version from the Dark Horse comics, but that one has a different head. Yeah, this one is fantastic. Obviously, one of the best James Cameron movies ever made, Aliens. This thing is phenomenal. So I'm gonna take the box, guys, and show you here some more quick details. Obviously, there's a write-up right there of the movie. And again, this one I believe at the time was like the 35th anniversary of Aliens back in 2014. That's when they also made, I think, or maybe a couple of years later, a year or two later, they made the core scale Aliens Warrior, which I have, which is a fantastic figure. But this one, without a doubt, is my favorite, you know, Neca figure that they made. I mean, just again, a pure design standpoint, I think this is one of the best looking creatures in, you know, science fiction. Again, the great late Stan Winston did the design. Obviously, there's a sketch from James Cameron, which he did. You can see that in the making of Aliens. He did a sketch, and then obviously Stan Winston made this crazy, you know, life-size version of the Queen. There's also like a, you know, a stunt puppet or a motion stunt puppet that they use, but there's also like a live, you know, a full-scale version that there's a few obviously guys inside. Some of the guys that created ADI, Studio ADI later on, were inside the suit, obviously to puppeteer some of the arms and the head. Yeah, this thing is fantastic, guys. Again, I've been wanting this to add this to the collection since like, I don't know, man, a few years ago. And again, I was regretting selling this one because again, for the longest time, you know, it kept like Neca kept putting it back in stock, you know, and then I think the retail on this one originally was like $130, and I think it's still that, between 130 and 150. And then usually it would sell out very fast, and again on eBay I would see crazy prices like $300, $400, $500, which is crazy. But I mean, what more I can say about this masterpiece? It's fantastic. Again, one of the best designs, you know, for an Alien movie. Obviously followed up by the original Giger design, but I think I like a little bit the design of the aliens a little bit more than the original. Again, that's just my personal opinion. Also, I like the fact that pretty much James Cameron explained to like, if you go back to the first movie where I think Kane goes inside that spaceship, he pretty much sees all of the eggs, you know, at the bottom, which I believe also Neca did a pack with some of these eggs. There's like some open ones, closed ones, there's like a facehuggers. But yeah, in the first movie there's pretty much eggs all over. And I think what I like about this is the fact that James Cameron expanded the universe and kind of give us an explanation to why there's eggs there and how the eggs were actually made. And that's one of the reasons that I like Alien so much. This is because, again, there's more explanation, and there's also like, I think it was Hudson, which was pretty much saying, oh, so there's eggs, that means that's almost like a bee colony. And then they figured out that what's making the eggs is pretty much the queen. And again, Ridley Scott never liked the idea of having a queen, which obviously makes sense because, I mean, how else do the eggs, you know, are available? I mean, where are they coming from, you know? That's why I like the queen so much. It's almost like the alien colony is similar to like a bee colony where you have a queen, you have the drones, the warriors, whatever. So that's a great concept that I like. And again, man, she's looking fantastic. Again, if I do open her, I'm gonna do a review. But usually I like to keep my, you know, alien stuff inside the box. Okay, and here in the book, if you go to like the Aliens, Predator and Terminator section, again, we come across here the aliens. Again, some of them in the movie, they were like brown, but some of them have like blue highlights depending on the lighting. But here, again, there's the Queen again, massive. And some of these is cool because you can see sketches of how the Queen was supposed to, I guess, again, this is like a prototyping look. And again, I think there's like a drawing from James Cameron, which I think is this one. Again, such a talented guy. I mean, again, he's not only a director or a writer, he's also an artist. And that's, I think, one of the first drawings that he made of the Queen. I think so, if I can zoom in on that right there. Let's see what it says. Previous, no. But I think, yeah, this is pretty much like an art done by James Cameron to pretty much showcase how the Queen is gonna actually look. And you have some other iterations, obviously, of the Queen right there. Again, very insectoid looking creature, especially this one right there. Then let's see, I think you can also see some shots of them essentially assembling the maquette here, which again, that's very crude look. There was two guys inside puppeting the arms. That's pretty much how the life-size version was, as you can see right there. There was two guys, one for each arm. And then there's the great Stan Winston next to James Cameron. Again, he's sculpting this masterpiece. And as you can see, that's how that looks. Again, with the two guys inside. Very awesome maquette right there. Look how big that is. Not sure the scaling on that. That almost looks like 1/6 scale. So imagine if Hot Toys could do like 1/6 scale version of this one. Again, this is pretty big. This is as is. It's like 1/10 scale. So it's again about 30 inches long. But again, look at that crazy hand design with all the digits. And then you see the Queen getting sculpted and painted right there. That massive leg. Yeah, man, I really like this like behind the scenes look. And again, awesome. And again, you look a close look at the head right there, and you take a close look at the Neca figure. Again, this thing is very accurate. And this one has like a movable jaw, and there's like two inner mouths, a longer one and a short one that you can plug inside. But that translucency right there, man, with the tendons, very accurate to again on the movie one. And again, you can see Stan Winston right there behind the scenes prepping the Queen. Wow, this thing is awesome. And then you get some more stuff with the aliens, and I believe that's Tom Woodruff Jr., which was also inside the Pumpkinhead suit. So hey guys, as usual, thanks for watching guys. Make sure you give me a like, subscribe to the channel, let me know down below what's your favorite Neca figure of all time. Again, this is pretty much it for me, although I like those core scale aliens that they've made. Again, it's quite difficult to do, but again, if I had only one choice, I would definitely take the Queen right there. I think it's a fantastic design. It's very nostalgic for me. I remember the first time I saw the VHS version of Aliens. It was such a cool movie, man. And again, having this in the collection finally again after all these years is, you know, is a privilege to have. So yeah, thanks for watching guys. See you later on the next video. There's a lot more Neca content on the channel that's gonna be releasing here in the next few weeks. I have a few projects in mind that I'm gonna use a couple Neca figures, and potentially I'm gonna open those Neca figures up just because of the scaling. I'm gonna tell you that you know, in more details very soon. I'm planning to pretty much put them around there with my horror section, so that's gonna be awesome. So as usual guys, stay safe out there, have a fantastic week, see you soon on the next video.